Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It is February 27th, 2025. We are coming off of the day after NVIDIA, and it seemed like it was pretty much all right. It was good enough. They guided up. It wasn't beyond expectations. And the market beyond expectations. That's me. And the market was taking it pretty well. And then a couple of minutes ago, we just got an update from Donald Trump, and he said that tariff in Canada tariffs will actually be happening on March 2nd, which is pretty much next week. So that was surprising. He also talked about an additional 10% of tariffs on China, and that started to move everything. So we have one part about NVIDIA. You had a little bit of data today. It really wasn't that much. It's not like anything was crazy considering the bonds and all of that. But now you're going to go with the back and forth between NVIDIA earnings, post-reaction, and now a little bit more clarity on tariffs. I mean, literally yesterday, Donald Trump was saying very similar things, but he was talking about April, and everybody was saying there's confusion, and I think he wanted to make you know that, yeah, okay, it's right around the corner. But either way, we should have a fun Friday, Junior, so Chattadonia. Are you guys ready or what? Good morning, baby. What's going on, Nacho? What up, Cristo? Gunner, winning, loser, N.A. Tim Whitman in the house, baby. Good morning. Humble business. Ansel, Riga, El Chapato, Jerry Woods. Yo, what's going on, baby? Mr. Bolt, Mike J, Open Face Sandwich, Dr. J's Cash, baby. Good morning. Jerry Woods. Yo, what's going on, Mikey? Dia Misa, Big Dumb Animal, Xavier, JG, Tyree, Thoughts and Emotions, baby. Good morning. Andrew Griffin, Robert French, Apple ATM, Be Like Mike, Monica Ashley, NRG, Andrew Griffin, Mr. Buddha, Anonymous, Mr. Fitz, Zoraj, baby. Good morning, Mr. Junkie. What up, Gabor? What up, Kurt McGurr? What up, Zero? Oh, my goodness. What about the Twitch? Stock Sasquatch, Rippin' Snipe, Lynn Sense, Ryan H87, The Swinging Bear, Payday Devil, Bagel, Roach Vince, Blizzy B, Iron Bagel, Preforms, Dio, The Penetrator, Swinging Bear, Hakuna, Mr. Glocks, and Piggy, and Blowing Dough, and Robo Handtech, baby. Good morning. So Chattadonia, I hope you. Oh yeah, I don't know. I already had. I was like, why is this on my computer? I forgot. The Jeffrey Epstein stuff has been released. I have the PDF. I got one of them. It's all on the FBI.gov, just in case you get bored. But in the meantime, here is Josh AI with the news, baby. Good morning. Stock futures rise before data as NVIDIA advances. U.S. equity futures rose as traders awaited a batch of economic data for clues on the interest rate outlook, and after NVIDIA Corp's earnings reassured investors on the outlook for AI chip demand. Contracts on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 were up at least 0.6%. NVIDIA advanced 3% in pre-market trading after reporting a fourth quarter earnings beat and giving a forecast that mostly met market expectations. Other members of the Magnificent Seven cohort were also higher, with Meta Platforms Inc., Tesla Inc., and Amazon.com Inc. rising more than 1%. Initial jobless claims and revised fourth quarter gross domestic product numbers feature in a flurry of readings due later that investors will parse for any further evidence of slowing growth. Money markets have boosted Federal Reserve easing bets to fully price 2 quarter-point cuts this year compared to just one reduction 2 weeks ago. NVIDIA's largely positive results come only a month after Chinese startup DeepSeek challenged U.S. big tech's artificial intelligence spending with its cheaper AI model. The picture for tech investors is made even more complex by U.S. President Donald Trump's administration pressuring allies to escalate curbs on China's semiconductor industry. While we continue to highlight volatility in the near term amid macro uncertainty, U.S.-China tensions, tariffs, and geopolitical developments, we believe the broader AI trend remains intact, said Mark Hayfele, Chief Investment Officer at UBS Global Wealth Management, investors are confronting a murky outlook for U.S. trade tariffs after Trump threatened to impose 25% levies on European Union imports. The region's stock 600 index fell 0.4%, off its lows for Thursday's session, with the auto sector the biggest laggard. Trump gave contradictory statements Wednesday on the implementation of tariffs, keeping investors guessing. A White House official said the European levies could affect all exports from the bloc or only specific sectors. The U.S. remains on track to put levies on Mexico and Canada. However, it is unclear if they are going to be enacted in March. The market wants to see the implementation to price in the worst, said Michael Nizard of Edmund de Rothschild Asset Management. Up until now, it was negotiations, and the market doesn't want to correct more. A gauge of the dollar rose, with the yen the biggest decliner against the greenback among Group of 10 currencies. Treasury slipped as traders looked forward to Thursday's economic data. Soft readings for services, PMI, and home sales this week added to signs that the economy is starting to slow, helping put 10-year yields on track for their 7th weekly decline, the longest streak since 2019. Meanwhile, on the outlook for U.S. stocks, J.P. Morgan Chase and Kums's Ilan Ben-Amu said they will struggle early March amid weaker economic data before they rally again later in spring. In the immediate future, things are too messy for stocks to break out, and I think the market is stuck. Ben-Amu, who works in equity derivative sales, wrote in a note to clients. Corporate highlights: Salesforce Inc. fell in pre-market trading after the software company gave an outlook that is weaker than expected, though analysts said it is likely conservative. Snowflake Inc. projected better than expected revenue growth for the fiscal year, sending an optimistic signal about the adoption of its recently launched products for artificial intelligence. The shares jumped in pre-market trading. Elliott Investment Management is ramping up pressure on BP plc after its new strategy fell short of the activist investors' expectations. People with knowledge of the matter said Royal Bank of Canada beat estimates on higher results in its capital markets and wealth management divisions, as both units benefited from strong markets. The Agnelli family's disposal of a €3 billion, $3.14 billion stake in Ferrari NV has propelled European block sales to the strongest start to the year in 2 decades. Ocado Group plc will cut about 500 jobs, or about 2.5% of its global workforce, as it faces a challenging outlook for its automated grocery warehouse business. Rolls-Royce Holdings plc raised its profit guidance, reinstated a dividend, and said it plans to buy back £1 billion, $1.27 billion of stock, as the aircraft engine maker seeks to extend a 2-year turnaround. Nissan Motor Company is drawing up plans to replace its chief executive officer following another dismal set of earnings and the collapse of talks to combine with Honda Motor Company. According to people familiar with the matter, small cap woes, investor sentiment around small cap companies is worse than it's been in months. As it turns out, the mood isn't much better inside their corporate boardrooms. The small company focused Russell 2000 is down more than 10% from its late 2024 high, as investors have lost faith in wagers that President Donald Trump's policies would boost the sector. Corporate executives are dour as well. An analysis of earnings transcripts by Bank of America Corp. going back to 2004 showed that sentiment on earnings calls of small cap companies has never been as negative in comparison with their large cap peers. Yen traders raise focus on Japanese data as economy shifts gears. Japanese economic data is gaining importance among yen traders for the first time in almost a decade as expectations grow of further interest rate hikes by the central bank. That marks a mindset change since the Bank of Japan ended its negative rates policy last March after the central bank started radical monetary easing in early 2016. Traders had little doubt the stimulus would continue regardless of what economic indicators showed, making it mostly safe to ignore Japanese data.
Recent currency swings show that's no longer the case. The dollar-yen exchange rate moved 0.11% in the 5 minutes after the latest wage data released on Feb. 5, the biggest reaction since 2017, according to Bloomberg compiled data, a 0.18% change in the currency pair on Feb. 17 in the 5 minutes following gross domestic product data was the second biggest since 2016. Bitcoin ETFs are hit by a record $1 billion outflows in one day. Investors yanked more than $1 billion from spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds Tuesday, marking the biggest one-day outflow since the cohort's debut last January. Fidelity-Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund, ticker FBTC, posted the steepest outflows among these funds, followed by the iShares Bitcoin Trust ETF, IBIT. According to data compiled by Bloomberg, that's as Bitcoin's price has been faltering, with investors shunning riskier assets in the face of uncertainty. As a group, the Bitcoin funds shed roughly $2.1 billion over 6 consecutive days, the longest stretch of outflows since last June. Top overnight news, U.S. President Trump issued an executive order to implement DOGE's government efficiency initiative, which deals with federal spending on contracts, grants, and loans. White House Republicans spent weeks in painstaking negotiations before delivering a budget blueprint for one big, beautiful bill. Despite a razor-thin 217-215 House vote Tuesday, GOP senators indicated Wednesday they would not accept Speaker Mike Johnson's fiscal framework as is. Politico, U.S. President Trump has assured House and Senate Republicans he intends to open up his stockpile of campaign reserves to defend the party's slim majorities in both chambers next year, CNN. U.S. Senate Majority Leader Thune told Punchbowl, "I'm not exactly sure where the 8% number or argument is coming from in relation to Pentagon spending cuts." Canadian officials are undertaking a full-court press in Washington this week to avert 25% tariffs on most of the nation's goods, a minister said. BBG, Microsoft is pushing the Trump administration to loosen and simplify a new system that would restrict the sales of cutting-edge U.S. artificial intelligence chips to much of the world. WSJ, China's securities regulator, has clamped down on small companies' listings on New York stock exchanges after many of them became vehicles for price rigging, causing heavy losses for U.S. investors. The rate of China-approved applications for U.S. IPOs has slowed noticeably in the past year, falling from 22 in the first half of 24 to 11 since June. FTT Japan births tumble to the lowest level since records began 125 years ago as the country's demographic crisis deepens and government efforts to reverse the decline continue to fail. Births fell 5% in 24 to 720,988. FT, where China's number 4 official, unveiled tougher language on Taiwan, urging efforts to shape the inevitable reunification. BBG, Indian officials are exploring ways to lower tariffs on a wide range of imports, including cars and chemicals, in a bid to evade U.S. President Donald Trump's threatened reciprocal levies, according to people familiar with the matter. BBG, UK PM Starmer will warn Trump on Thursday at the White House that any Ukraine peace agreement will require some type of a security guarantee from the U.S. in order to be credible. FTD, Israel and Hamas began an exchange of the bodies of 4 hostages for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners, the final swap in a 6-week ceasefire due to end this weekend. BBG, yo, man, he just had to let it out, bro. He just had to let it out. Let him do his thing, man. Don't worry, we got more. S&P futures, they're up by 0.2 Thursday morning trading. Go off the best levels, comes after U.S. equities finished narrowly mixed in a choppy Wednesday. Both S&P and NASDAQ managed to snap their 4-day losing streak. Semis a standout while staples lagged after a big Tuesday rally. Treasuries under pressure with a bit of curve steepening, though rates still lower on the week. Dollar is up by 0.3. Gold is down by 1. Bitcoin is up by 2.7. And WTI is up by 1.8.
AI secular growth theme in focus, with NVIDIA flagging a fully ramped Blackwell, which is said to be seeing extraordinary demand, while also putting a positive spin on the DeepSeek breakthrough, with reasoning models requiring 100 times more compute than the pre-training methods. Trade is the other big story, following a Wednesday afternoon filled with a flurry of Times contradicting and confusing tariff headlines. Some attempt by Trump to clarify today reiterated that March 4th date for Mexico and Canada, and then April 2nd for reciprocals remains in force, and China will be charged an additional 10% as of that date. Pronouncements come against persistent thoughts that Trump has been making tariff threats as a negotiating tactic, particularly given the limited actual implementation thus far. Multiple economic releases today. Headline: January durable goods order top forecast, though ex-transports were flat against expectations for a monthly rise. Core capital goods are better than expected, though December revised lower. Weekly jobless claims jumped to a higher than expected 242 versus 220, and then GDP came in line, and then Atlanta GDP Q1 currently tracking 2.3. January pending home sales still to come. Busy day of Fed speak. Schmid, Barr, Bowman, Hammock, and Harker all scheduled today. President Trump meeting with Prime Minister Starmer, with press previews largely focused on discussions surrounding Ukraine. NVIDIA beat and guided above. Fundamental takeaways upbeat, but scrutiny on weaker GM outlook. CRM full-year guide below. SMPS maintained full-year guide despite weak China. CRH talked up favorable demand and pricing momentum. Snowflake full-year 26 revenue guide better. A tweaked down full-year revenue guide. eBay Q1 GMV guide below. HEI beat with defense strength. TKO boosted by UFC. WBD beat highlighted subscriber momentum. PSTG hit by weaker GMs and RPO deceleration. INVH new lease rate pressure, some talk of reacceleration. NTNX beat and raised with focus on new logo and positive competition. VTRS missed and guided below. Myrna lower after report Trump could pull bird flu funding. Smucker's organic growth missed, cut revenue guide, and then UHS beat and guided above. Vol. There's more. No blowout results from NVIDIA, but Blackwell demand remains strong. Microsoft pushing Trump admin to loosen and simplify new system that would restrict sales of USAI chip exports. Salesforce revenue outlook underwhelms amid slower adoption. Indonesia set to lift iPhone ban after deal with Apple on local investment. DeepSeek rapidly adopted by China's state-owned enterprise, hospital, and local governments. eBay guide falls short. Snowflake upbeat guide anticipating rising cloud. Trump admin weighs pulling funding for Moderna. 7 to 9 management buyout proposal fails after founding family. Itochu unable to secure financing. Nissan ready to replace CEO after collapse of Honda deal. Paramount misses. CoreWeave considering filing IPO within a week, looking to raise $4 billion. Mercedes-Benz plans significant job cuts in China. Trump team reconsidering $590 million bird flu contract for Moderna. Elliott said to be ramping up pressure on BP. Trump creates uncertainty around March 4 tariff deadline. Fed study finds China tariffs and end of de minimis exemption could have larger expected impact. India looking for ways to lower tariff on range of imports to avoid trade war with U.S. China's steel exports under heightened pressure from Trump tariffs. EU trade chief intends to visit China amid growing tensions with Trump. Republican senators want major changes to House-passed budget resolution. House Speaker Johnson rules out some of the biggest potential cuts to Medicaid for Republican reconciliation. Shutdown risk elevated as Democrats unable to get assurance from Republicans about Trump and Musk adhering to planned spending. House Speaker Johnson working on plan to avoid government shutdown. House Republican budget would pair tax cuts that primary benefit the rich and cuts to programs that help the poor. Trump admin axing 92% of foreign assistance under USAID. Trump signs executive order empowering Doge. Trump tariffs and spending cuts challenge U.S. economy. Investors foresee sharpest divergence for 3 years between Eurozone and U.S. inflation. Japan birth rates fall to record low. Japan top forex official says he has no issues with growing market expectations of rate hikes. Eurozone economic sentiment improves in February. CBI data shows U.K. service firms report falling profits. U.S. exceptionalism trade faltering amid weakening consumer and business indicators. Investor sentiment around small caps is worse than it's been in months. J.P. Morgan Ben Hamu says says U.S. stocks will struggle early March amid weaker data, but rally later in spring. Hedge fund puts turnaround in unloved China property sector. Ukraine sees U.S. mineral deal as first step towards broader security arrangement. Critical minerals become core to U.S. foreign policy with Trump. Trump declines to comment when asked whether U.S. would protect Taiwan from Chinese invasion. Chevron weighed implications of Trump decision to end concessions with Venezuela. Trump views European allies raising alarm, sparking debate of indifference or hostility to EU. Starmer seeks U.S. backstop for Ukraine. And then Director of National Intelligence Gabbard calls for probe in the UK demand for Apple backdoor. Wow. My goodness, that's a lot. You're going to have a wild one today. Again, the tariff things and your boy in the morning, that's important. Mm-hmm. All righty. We have more, ladies and gentlemen. So, pre-market movers. Nutrinix is up by 16. We should make it full screen. Earnings, Snowflake's up 12.7. Earnings, expanded Microsoft partnership. FTI up by 6.7 off earnings. VST 6.6 off earnings. WBD 5.0 off earnings. APP up 4.8, pairing yesterday's reaction to short reports. ONC is up 4.2 off earnings. UHS 3.4 off earnings. NCLH 3.3 off earnings. Cruise Lines and Sympathy. NVIDIA is up by 2.7. Synapsys 2.5 off earnings. Toyota 2.3. January numbers. FCX up 2.2. Jeffries upgrade. Checkpoint up 1.9. Baird upgrade. Root is up 19 off earnings. Marqeta 14 earnings and CEO transition. OPRA is up 12. AMBA up 10. VYX up 10. Oklo's up 10. No headline. Vital up 8 off earnings. Pizza 5.9 off earnings. Nutrila, they're up 5.7 off earnings. LFST 5.3 off earnings. PCT Q4 fiscal year update up 4. Sterling up 4.4. DA Davidson upgrade. Urban 4.3 off earnings. Z-Lab 4.1 off earnings. ERJ 2.4 off earnings. Tabula 1.9 Citizen downgrade. Viav up 1.8. AT&T and Verizon announced collaboration to accelerate testing. Talo is up by 1.9. APA is up by 0.5 earnings. RRGB 25 off earnings. Riley 24, 160 million debt financed by Oaktree. ADTN up 12 off earnings. Sava up 7. Licenses Simulfilm method of treatment patient. Zivra up by 6.9 to sell rare pediatric disease review voucher for 150 million. Space is up by 4.9 off earnings. Huma up 4.4 U.S. patent. STAA 4.3 CO transition. Zivia up 3.1 50 million mixed shelf. ALT is up by 2.5, GTN 2.3, semis mostly trading higher, Bitcoin trading higher, WPP down 15 off earnings, VTRS down 14 off earnings, eBay down 9 off earnings, Myrna down 4 on Trump pulling funding for bird flu, Ferrari down 3.1 to repurchase 10% of shares from X-Source sale of family, TKO down 2.9 off earnings. Coca-Cola or Keurig Dr. Pepper down 2.7, 3 million offering. SMCI 2.2, Barclays reinstates equal weight. SRPT down 2.2 off earnings. IBTA down 41 off earnings. Tandem down 21 off earnings. Sweet Greens down 11 off earnings. IONQ down 5.4. New CEO and acquisition. BAK down 4.9, 2025 outlook. DMRC down 26 off earnings. RenB down 16, definitive merger with Biosymmetrics. And then Beyond trading lower, and I think gold and silver also down as well. Wow. So Chatadonia, how you living, baby? How you living? There it is. No. Ferrari's buying 10% because one of the families sold like 15, I think. So a big family sold a bunch of shares. So Ferrari's going to buy back some of it to limit the impact on the stock. Ta-da! But, Chatadonia, I hope you guys are feeling blessed. Welcome to the morning. We're going to have a fun one today. I think there'll be volatility and excitement and everything in between. But before we do that, before we try to chase the dollar, before we try to enrich ourselves, we must pay homage to a very special group of people that has made a sacrifice most of us have never done in our lives. And here it is. If you want to thank me, you should thank the veterans. We all have a level of freedom Every morning we wake up, we be nice, we be mean to each other. We do all of these things in this great country. So many people want to just sit at home and make a living, and there's nothing wrong with that, but we have to acknowledge that we wouldn't have all of these privileges if we did not have warriors and people who had a higher priority for others in this country, and that is the veterans of the United States of America. It is a damn shame we even have homeless veterans. If you could become annoying like me, you could help spread the word. $6 billion. We could fund all of the homeless veterans for $6 billion. That's not even the first round of student loan relief. But the point is, every day, man, we're here, and I love being here, and I'm honored, but at the end of the day, if we didn't have people who fought and gave up so much for this country, I don't think we'd be here right now. So veterans, the families, thank you for everything you have given up, for everything you've had to deal with when you come home, and I truly hope we get you a long-term house, and I hope all of the blessings, riches, wealth, freedom, and peace is all yours, my brother, because you guys deserve it, and you have already given it to all of us. So thank you. God bless every single one of you, and I hope you guys spread this love to the veterans at bare minimum. And big shout out to anybody else out there giving back to their local communities, all the doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers, the janitors, the coaches, the garbage men, anybody making their community run. God bless you and thank you, baby. But ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Place your right hand over your heart. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, baby. Son of the judge! Oh, it's game time, baby. Oh, no. Let's go. Oh, Chattadonia. Chattadonia, how you feeling? Are you ready? Are you ready for the morning? So, Chad, God bless you all. Veterans, thank you guys again. That's why we're here, baby. That's why we're here, but now it's game time. So, we're going to move over. I'm assuming you have the link, but yeah, it's time, my brother. It's time. Get ready for the chat and plays. So I'll see you there. Have a great morning, and I should see you very shortly. All right, let's get it, baby.